Go. Sorry for the shitty lighting. My camera's battery is shot, so I can't use my flash, and if I unplug it, it'll just immediately turn off because my shit's super janky. But if you watch my videos, you're not watching for stellar camera work, cinematography, or lighting, or any of that, so um, bear with me. I have something important to say. I don't know how I'm going to title this video, but I'm really here to say one thing, and I'm going to do a bit of an intro and lead up to it because it's heavy shit, and I don't want to just irresponsibly throw it out there without giving a bit of, I don't know, I just want to like give you more information without just dropping some heavy shit on you. So I'll try not to go off on too many tangents. I'll try not to go off on a rant, but like I said, I feel like it's pertinent to say a few things before I get to my actual overall point. So in my own, oh, first off, I hope everybody's having kick-ass holidays, good times with your family, good times with yourself, whatever you're doing. I hope it's positive. I hope it feels good for you. In my own personal journey of trying to piece shit together, there are certain things that, regardless of what I've gotten into, whether it's Wicca, the New Age movement, conscious thought, conspiracy theories, there are certain things that I just can't shake regardless of what avenues of thought I find myself gravitating towards or shifting into. So I'm going to list off a few of these things, and then I'm going to make some abstract points about how a lot of us are being treated, like collectively, and then I'm going to drop something that has helped me find such potent clarity and self-awareness that I know it can help a few other people, but I also understand that this isn't something that everybody's ready to hear because I'm not the first person to say this. I'm not the first person to come to this awareness and understanding, and I definitely won't be the last. And this is something that I don't personally think, oh, I figured out the keys, I'm the only one that knows this. It's more of, I realize that this is such a big thing that, one, it can't be hidden, it can't be taken from people, but it's completely up to you whether or not you do the inward journey of accepting this and starting to put your own pieces together, not just listening to me or whoever's on YouTube or whatever. So, some of the few pieces that I can't shake, regardless of what I get into. One of the first ones I want to talk about is the NPC theory that a lot of people have been shooting around. The idea that some people in this matrix, construct, realm, dimension, whatever words you're comfortable with, some people have souls and some people might not. Or, yeah, just to put it plainly, not all of us are the same. And I've talked with my girlfriend, my best friends about this, and not too many people in my personal life have vibed with me on this specific theory, but I just can't let it go. I don't feel like, oh, I'm just so right, but it's more like, what is it about this? Like, what's going on here? Because I feel like whatever angle you come at when you get into conspiracy theories and questioning established modes of thought that you've been conditioned and trained into, unless you're coming at conspiracies purely from an entertainment perspective, there's this overarching question that's in the background of anything you might be asking, whether you're studying FEMA camps, HARP, the Illuminati, Bavarian shit, the Jesuits, whatever. You have this overarching question of what don't they want us to know? What can we figure out that threatens them? And we're all trying to figure that shit out. And so another piece that I haven't been able to get out of my head, and I know all of you can relate to this. There are two of these that I know you can all relate to. This shit is fucked up. Like, the world we're in is not correct. It's not right. It's not supposed to be this way. You inherently are like, nope, this is wrong. There's a lot of shit that I enjoy here. There's a lot of beauty. There's sacred things. There's, but it's imbalanced and it's broken. And the second one is, you don't originate from here. Not to say that there's not important things here, not to say that you don't have a sacred connection to things here or to this place, but you don't originate from here. This is not your source point. I don't even want to say home, because home is where you make it on a lot of different levels. So I don't want to disrespect anybody's connections to Gaia, the earth, or the people that you have here and the life that you're grounded in. But you know, and you've known from the start, just inherently, that you originate from somewhere else. And so I don't need to list off a whole bunch of others. I think those are good enough to lead into. I want to talk about, even if you don't use the exact words, when you're putting a lot of your energy and efforts into certain things, that says more about your perspectives, your beliefs, and your intentions than even your words can. So I want to talk about slavery, not in America, not back in Egypt or wherever, just the basic kind of notion of slavery and the idea of trying to keep a group of people, or not trying, but effectively keeping a group of people where you want them. And so if we look at kind of the traditional forms that slavery has taken around the planet and throughout history, it seems like it's really important to, you can only let them have so much education, because after a certain point, when intelligence and education is paired with critical thought, people just start forming questions that it's not good enough to be pacified on. They need to find an answer. They start figuring shit out. They start innovating things that didn't exist before. And when you're trying to tame people, that shit's a problem. So you need to find a way to curb intellect. You need to find a way to curb or eradicate critical thought and conscious thinking, because there is a difference between walking around and learning through your five senses to avoid certain physical sensations, to go towards ones that feel good. And yeah, you have thoughts and you can interact with things, but it's a very sensory automated kind of like, you know, avoid hot, avoid extreme cold, this feels good, eat, blah 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 blah. So you want to keep people in kind of a limited form of, they're not their full capacity. Um, and you also want to keep them inebriated on certain levels, whether that is with drugs, alcohol, or thoughts of a certain degree or level, or material objectification. Making people obsessed with, well, if I have enough of this thing that I can hold in my hand, then I can be happy, right? Doesn't matter how I feel inside. If I have nice cars and all this shit. So when you want to keep people enslaved to certain things, or at least when you want to keep people in a box, you, especially with humans and with us, you don't want to let them reach their full capacity, or at least you don't want them to ask the question of what is their full capacity. Are they living at their full capacity? Are they using their brains, their consciousness, their fucking chakras to their full intensity? And so what I'm getting at here is if we were all just weak pieces of shit, they wouldn't need to try so hard to keep us so distracted and focused on so many things and running around in so many different directions. They wouldn't need to turn us away from certain avenues of thought. Look at cattle that we keep, livestock. You don't have to enact conspiracies to keep cows locked up so that you can milk them. You don't need to construct an Illuminati to have the modern slaughterhouse setup that we have. Or to start a garden, or, you know, like, they have to put so much energy into keeping us unconscious and keeping us asleep that simple fact means they're trying so hard to avoid something. And when you pair that with what I call like the conspiracy theorist core thought, it's, what don't they want us to figure out? What don't they want us to piece together? And when you put that with the whole thing I'm talking about slavery, for me the question becomes, what don't they want us to figure out about ourselves? And on a certain level, if you get down with the whole we're old souls, we've lived different lives, the question clearly becomes, what don't they want us to remember? Because going back to some of the things that I can't get out of my head, we don't originate here. This place is wrong. And most of you were obsessed with mythology the second you were able to start reading. I mean, obviously mythology is dope. One could say objectively that fantasy and fantastical stories Obviously, people are going to be captivated by those because there's bright things, it feels good, it captures the imagination. So, yeah, if you want to come from a completely third world perspective, you can break down what I'm about to say by just saying cool stories are cool stories. But I'm not talking to those people right now, am I? So, most of you, in fact, I would be willing to say all of you actually watching this, have been obsessed with mythology. You've been obsessed with science fiction. You've been obsessed with certain stories, not just to the point that they were entertaining, but some like myself. When I saw Star Wars, it's like, yeah, lightsabers are cool, lasers are cool, but I knew that the Force was real. That shit could not be shook from my head, and there's tons of people who have pulled that from that story, and that's what I'm getting at. Like, you're not just into the story because it's entertaining. Like, I think in one of my videos I broke down how it clicked with me one day that Green Lantern was literally about us. It was about the fact that with your willpower you can accomplish anything, but you have to actually get to the point where you've unlocked your willpower. You don't have this voice in the back of your head saying, "Oh no, you can't do that. That's bullshit." You're not listening to other people. You're like, "No, fuck that. I got this. I'm mentally locked in. I am projecting my consciousness onto this thing. I'm not saying I want this to happen. I'm not asking for it to happen. I'm saying this is going down." We're not at that level yet. At least not all of us. I'm not at that level. I have reached points where I've tapped into something that I feel if I maintained it, I would be at that level. But I'm sitting here with the rest of you guys. I haven't ascended or descended to shit. So, but I'm getting off on a tangent. I wanted to wait till the end to say this, but it feels pertinent to say it now. I no longer subscribe to We Are Star Seeds. I no longer subscribe to reincarnation because that's a big thing, man. It started with watching Subtle Infinity, which I recommended in one of my past videos to you guys. I hope you're checking him out because he has some heavy shit to say. And if you're into the New Age movement, you do not want to hear what he has to say. But I pushed and fought at that shit really hard. And then I really started listening to what he was saying, and I realized that there was shit inside of myself that I didn't want to confront and I didn't want to accept. But when I started asking the question of, man, how is it that this conscious movement is pushing us all to be super smart and to wake up and to do all of this shit, but when you ask them specific questions about certain things, they can't give you an answer. They want to shine you on, and it usually boils down to if you just wait, the ascension will come. If you just love everything, even the people that are oppressing you and fucking over your people and your families, your ancestors, and if they get their way, your children, you're just supposed to love them and everything's gonna work out. And I ate that shit up. But through finding Subtle Infinity's videos, through finding a whole bunch of other folks on YouTube, and just having the internal dialogue of, yo, let me really look at what makes sense to me and what doesn't. Let me just stop assuming that because I was told this is true, it is. All of the things that I'm applying to the government and conspiracy theories and all this stuff, maybe I should put it in every direction. And when I started doing that, I immediately stopped believing in reincarnation. Fuck somebody else's YouTube channel, fuck somebody else's words. I personally was like, reincarnation makes no sense to me. And if we come from some all source point of unconditional love that just wants the best from us, why would they put us in a test where all this fucked up shit is going down? That doesn't sound right to me. I wouldn't put my kids in a situation where they're going to go through temporary amnesia, be at the whim of all of these psychos, and be conditioned to do things that go against their nature. And they're sitting there in pain, crying, feeling suicidal, all this different shit, right? And it's like, why would you intentionally put people through that? And then when I got past that, I said, well, shit, even if we are in a test or on some level we're fractals of source and we're trying to experience a lower form or a lower density of conscious thought simply so that we can go back up and will be worth it and we'll learn the lessons of what to do and what not to do. I'm like, fuck that. That doesn't make any sense because if we came from unconditional love, which is effectively like a soul utopia, if we came from that, why the fuck would we need to learn to not fuck kids? to not hit each other, to not kill each other, to not steal, to not do this, to take care of one another? Wouldn't we inherently already fucking know those things? So when I started having these thoughts and I started asking these questions, nothing was really good enough for me. And so it just immediately, it wasn't that I started with a blank template. It was all of the pieces that I couldn't shake, that can't be taken from me. I was just left with those. And I was left with certain experiences that I've had that I've been shy about talking about here on camera, but fuck it. It's the internet. People are going to talk shit about what I have to say, and those of you that are actually listening to me, you need to hear this stuff. I don't know exactly how many years ago, but about 6 to 7 years ago, I figured out that with enough intention, with enough thought, I could get a strong breeze going. And then when I really started meditating, I noticed that everywhere I went, it was crazy fucking windy. And one of the moments that I came out of my own head, because I doubted this shit the whole time, I told myself that I was crazy. I was like, this stuff's not real. One of my homies, who's not into any of this magic, conscious, anything that I was into, he was not into it. And he was like, yo, what are you doing, man? And I was like, what do you mean? Because we were like smoking or something, hanging out on our porch. And I kept going inside and I kept coming out. And he's like, he waited until the rest of our friends had gone back into the apartment. And he's like, yo, hold up. What are you doing? What do you mean? Every time you went inside, the wind died. And when you came back outside, that shit picked up again crazy strong. And nobody else seemed to notice. Nobody else was saying shit. But he's like, I was looking at you every time like, yo, what is this? And so I told him straight up, like, I recently came into the knowledge that I have a spirit guide. I've been talking to her. And we've been working on my connection to the wind. I don't completely understand it. I don't know exactly what's going on. I'm not egotistical enough to say that I'm controlling this shit. I feel like I'm working with it. And more so than that, my understanding is that I've been learning from it. And saying this out loud, I don't know what experience you guys are having or what experiences you've had from either childhood or maybe you're actively working on flexing these muscles and attaining this shit. I don't know what you guys can do, but I'm sure somebody on the other side of this camera can relate to what I'm talking about. You can do some shit that doesn't make sense, and if you've tried to talk to people about it, they think you're insane and it's ostracized you, or it's helped you connect to other people who are on the same kind of wavelength you are. I am not saying that we're all just airbenders or fucking even that we all just have an element, although I do think there is something to that. I think we all have, whether it's a mixture of maybe a few or one core one, there are certain elemental aspects to people. Like when I look at everybody's personalities, I usually see some aspect of fire, earth, wind, water, or a mixture of the two, because a lot of them are very similar. Air, water, fire, they all flow. They all whatever, I'm not even getting lost on that tangent because I don't need to. What I'm trying to say here is that I had all of these concrete experiences that I couldn't shake, couldn't be taken from me, and when I pieced them together, I was like, okay, I no longer believe that reincarnation is something we need to do. I think we're stuck here and we need to remember something so that we can get out of it or maybe clean this place up. But really what I came to the conclusion was we're not supposed to be here. Or at least we're not supposed to be here right now. And we don't come from here. So we need to remember something about ourselves so that we can get out. Recently started watching a bunch of cats on YouTube. Subtle Infinity put up a video of Bobby Hemmett talking. I got into Bobby Hemmett, Dr. Phil Valentine, Dr. Delbert Blair, and a whole bunch of other shit. And for the past 4 days, I've been doing YouTube, talking to my spirit guide, meditating, working on some energy stuff, going straight back to YouTube, having my own internal dialogue, and that really happens for me in the shower for some reason. I'd go there, the water hits me, and I just start like thinking about shit, and I'll have memories, flashbacks, and sudden epiphanies of like suggested thought that helps me start piecing stuff together or ask a question. And then I'll hop on YouTube and immediately see somebody talking about shit that answers my direct question. And the video is from like 10 years ago. Or it's a recording that was uploaded 4 years ago from a lecture that was given 12 years ago. We are not the first ones to figure this shit out, but it's because we're all on an individual journey to remember what and who we are and why we're here. So, might get a lot of shit for this, but I honestly, I welcome that because now I'm understanding that this is the path, this is the way, at least it is for me. And for those of you that might be in the same space, I'm just here to try to help give you a nudge, not in the right direction as if I'm the fucking shepherd and I'm gonna lead the way. No, you know what the fuck is up. I didn't realize it, but I knew what the fuck was up this whole time. Like, you might not know every single thing that's happening in this construct, but you know who you are. You know what you are. And I am here to say that you are not a starseed. You did not come in here to reincarnate to learn how to become godly. You already are. You have been this whole fucking time, and everything they're doing is to get us to not remember that, to not look inward for that. This whole blood over intent thing that blew up and got super huge, the flat earth thing that's blown up and gotten super huge, how everybody's looking for, is it Shambhala, Eden, or the Mount Yggdrasil, whatever, the World Tree. Everybody who's looking for the center of the plane, the way out, I am here to say that I'm willing to be completely wrong, and you can call me out on my shit, but what I figured out is it's this. That green... I can't remember what the dude was talking about, but he was talking about two suns with a black hole and some shit. I don't know. I can't remember his name, but the blood over intent guy, that was his whole thing. Fucking two suns and the light looking out and the green, whatever. There's the sun in the sky, and you can charge off of it. I've talked about that in my older videos, and that's that Green Lantern concept. The Green Lanterns have this big-ass planet, Oa. It's a giant fucking Green Lantern, and it powers everybody's individual lanterns that they hold, which then powers the ring, which then emits the will and shit. You can charge off of the sun because your soul is a piece of that. It comes from the same shit. You can link this to the sun, you can charge all of this up, you can get your juice from that, but more importantly, you can connect to something that will start taking your consciousness out of your body, out of this place, out of all the bullshit that's going on, and you start piecing your own shit together. I do not think that there is some place in Antarctica where there is a green light shining through, but I am convinced that everyone that has a soul has a green light shining through their chakra in their chest. And if you just take a little bit of time to start feeling that and just take one step in that direction, I guarantee you that it's going to lead to some shit that you will want to pursue. You do not have to have the same analysis as me. You don't have to use the same words as me. But seriously, if you are convinced that there is a matrix and you're in it and you want to know the way out, it's in. It's inside. The way out is in. Into your heart chakra. Recognizing your connection to everybody else that has a soul and a heart chakra, your connection to the sun, your connection to the creator, the prime source of everything, of creation, what most people call God, that is you. You are an extension of it, and through that, we're using 3D words to understand some shit that created the three-dimensional, so it's not perfect, but to use 3D words, you are an extension of the soul source creator. And as that, you are the creator itself experiencing itself, because say you go off of the biblical Judeo-Christian view of God. God is not gonna break itself. But if God wants to experience the realms that it's created, it could theoretically create extensions of itself that drop down into that density, and almost like a feedback loop of your cells in your body react to the cells in your brain, allowing you to feel something happening on your foot or on your hand or whatever. Or that's probably not the best metaphor, but again, because we're trying to understand shit on a level that's outside of the level we're on. It's like you've only been given the first steps of biology, but you're already trying to figure out like neural synaptic functions and stuff. That shit doesn't necessarily work. It might if you're coming from your full intuition and you're just going straight off of like the fucking spirit vibes. But more commonly, you're not going to be able to just be the ascended master from step one. You got to work your way up there. And that's what I meant by, I don't think I'm just going to drop this video and tell you that you're a god and you're going to go, okay, everything makes sense. But it might help you on the journey you're already on to help yourself get to your own understanding of, oh shit, I'm so obsessed with the Clash of the Titans because I was a part of that. And yes, I brought that up for a specific reason. Or, damn, Atlantis has always been something I've been obsessed with because I was there. There's no more words, man. Like, you know what's up. You've known the whole time. All you have to do is remember. And this whole thing is just a fucking shadow. It's an illusion. It's a perceptible, seemingly physical, conscious interacting structure that it's all just fucking words, man. I could keep going on, but it's like it's just a, how do I say this? You are not your body. You are not this place. You can get a lot out of it, but you know that you're not from here, and you know that you're either being projected into here, or you came here, or you fell from grace and are here. But regardless of the theological concepts that you want to attach to it, you're not here to learn God. You've had a problem with religions your whole life. You couldn't get down with certain ones because you don't need someone to tell you who God is. You don't need someone to tell you what right and wrong is. You don't need someone to tell you that the world is fucked up. And you don't need to know shit about secret societies to know that there are people here playing games that are trying to keep us asleep. And just ask yourself, what are they trying to keep us asleep to? And ask yourself why we have all these theories about FEMA camps and Agenda 21 and HARP and all these different things, where it's like, if they really wanted to kill us or take us out, why haven't they done it? Perhaps, possibly, they know that they can't fuck with us, because if they fuck with us too hard, they're going to trigger a massive awakening. We're going to find our juice, and nothing's going to hold us back anymore. Perhaps, similarly to slaves that were given a whole bunch of alcohol and just told to party, party, party when they weren't working so that they wouldn't be thinking about shit. Perhaps we've become inebriated with conspiracy theories, material bullshit, fucking songs on the radio telling you whatever the fuck's going on in the world, just dance, man, just fuck, just do this, it's all good. Perhaps we're inebriated with our own given sense of lack of self-worth. Oh, I'm nothing in this atheistic pile of dust, and when I die, I just reduce to whatever. We don't even have to break down why that's bullshit. You wouldn't be here if you believed in all that, so I'm not going to waste my breath on talking about why that's BS. Don't go looking for some place in Antarctica. Don't go looking for the answer in conspiracy theories. Do not look for the answer in other people. Fuck looking for the answer in me or anybody. It's already in you. I don't even need to, like... That's what I meant by this shit is so powerful and pervasive that it's not going to apply to everybody. It might hurt some fucking people's feelings who can't handle this information, and I'd be willing to say that they can't handle it because it's not for them. You're going to come to this no matter what. You might drop into another life and have to remember then. I doubt it. But you might have to wait a few years before it sinks in for you. You might find different terminology or different words, but you already know, man. So, with that said, shit, dude, where do we go from here, you know? I'm gonna make some more videos when I actually have some shit to say, but I love you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And it's just really fucking exciting because shit's starting to click. I don't know if there is a massive awakening and we're all gonna come to this hype. I don't know if I'm personally coming into something that a lot of people just already are at, and people will meet when they whatever. But I think there's a lot to the whole we're riding a wave together. A lot of us are consciously, tangibly connecting, discovering, and pursuing things simultaneously, collectively, and together. So I don't think necessarily everyone right now is like, oh shit, I'm a god. But I think we're all in that space where we're starting to see that everything around us is bullshit, everything around us is illusion, and a lot of us are not simply satisfied with saying like, "Oh, there's a matrix and this was clearly made by something alien," and that's great, but if you don't go further and you don't go inside, it's just another conspiracy theory, which is a distraction. It's inebriation. Go inside. In fact, here, fuck everything I just said. If you're listening this far, simply listen to this, please. Go outside when it's sunny, close your eyes, and visualize the sun coming here, and then get back to me. That's all you gotta do. Just give that a shot, and if nothing happens for you, fuck it. I was wrong. Leave it alone. Never touch it again. Or maybe it'll come back to you in a few years or something, and you'll be like, oh yeah, this is cool. But I guarantee you, almost all of you, if you haven't been doing that shit already, connect to the sun one fucking time. Or if you can, start asking your spirit guides, your internal aspects of yourself what's going on. And also, those of you who are trying to manifest, who are doing magic, who are doing energy stuff, stop asking for things. Like, don't be a dick about throwing your intentions around. But if you want to manifest something into your life, like, say, prosperity, or you want to, like, have something heal, or you just want to do some nar shit with your chi, don't say, oh, it would be nice if the spirits could grant me prosperity in this. Say, no, I am pursuing this. This is going to happen. And you can't fail. I love you guys. Peace.